Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Uh, my name is Tark, and this is the Evan Studios weekly podcast, which we have been able to keep weekly in 2023. With me, I have our co-host Isaac, also the one of the co-founders of Evan Studios.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to try and have a super chill podcast. I know I said we were going to have a weekly podcast, and I did not want to miss out this week. We basically just had a lot of work on Monday, a lot of work on Monday, and at the end of the day, Isaac and I still didn't get to fix a lot of the stuff that we wanted to fix because we're going through the days of the we're going through the days of the shoulder patch, and we are I was going to say min maxing. We are being very nitpicky about the quality of the patch, so we just want to make sure that all the details are looking good. There's no bugs. There's no anything. So on Monday we got kind of we kind of lost track of the time, and at the end of the day it will just be a very small podcast because we had like one more hour to do anything, and we were just we were focused on our jobs, and we didn't want to like put what we were doing on hold because we were just focusing on doing stuff, and we didn't like stop halfway. So we kind of just okay, we'll just do it on Thursday. And the thing is, like once a month, but it's been almost 2 months, I get a haircut, and thankfully, the mother of one of my best friends is she's been cutting hair for like 30 years or 40 years or whatever, probably longer than I've been alive, and she comes to my house and cuts my hair for free. Obviously, it's one of those family things where basically I do a lot of favors for their family, and she cuts my hair, and I keep her kids from doing dumb shit. But it's she's a really nice person. Even if I try to pay, she gets super angry. So yeah, that's how I got free haircuts. And basically, she got out of the salon at that time, and the only time that she had to come cut my hair will be the time of the podcast. And obviously, I wouldn't be. Oh, sorry, I can't. I got a podcast. Like, I mean, she's old. She will probably tell me to go eat a dick. Um, but yeah, I could do the podcast anyway, but I will do it without Isaac, or we will do it earlier in the day. And the problem with doing the podcast earlier in the day will be that almost no one will be here to listen to it. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Right now in my life, listening to podcast, it's like remember when you're a kid and you get home, and then there's like that special magic time where your favorite anime is going to play, and you got like that 30 minutes 1 hour where as soon as the song starts it's like, yo bitches, this is my time, no one fucking bother me for the next hour. And you got the anime song starting, and you got all the chill time for you, and you know it's going to be a good hour. That's kind of like how I feel about the podcast right now. Once the song starts playing, and I know that I'm going to be chatting and talking with the people in chat and whatnot. It's kind of how I feel. Yo, it's gonna be the podcast. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah, first of all, I want to say hi to everyone in attendance. Aaron N and Jeffrey Cotting. You were here like last week. Um, yeah, and everyone that is going to watch this not live. This week we she's probably doing a lot of noise. This week we didn't alert for the date of the podcast ahead of time because obviously yesterday we couldn't do it, and today I had to go put out some fires. I had to go buy some tubes because my air conditioner was leaking water, so I had to get a new tube for the water to get out. And I also checked, since I had to go to the Brico store. I use gas tanks for the gas in my house, and those tubes have to be changed every so often. They have the tubes actually have an expiry date, so you also have to change those. I actually didn't know that until I made the renovations on my house like 6 years ago. But yeah, let's get down to business. I just wasted 7 minutes just talking about trivial shit. First of all, I'm gonna ask you, Isaac. I didn't tell you ahead of time what we're gonna do. Also, please close the door because the cats
You,
are
you,
being.
you never do. You realize that, right?
What? Oh yeah, because listen, if I'm gonna give you like a cheat sheet, it's not gonna it's going against the principle of our podcast, which is doing the stuff
Wing it.
and doing stuff on the fly, and people seeing that we are having a conversation with our fans, and we're not just trying to prep some speech that we're going to just feed them just
Sure.
to keep them updated. So what I want to ask is, you've been working on the remaster for, I don't know, like 2 to 3 weeks now.
No, 1 week. 1 week and a half, maybe.
Okay, 1 week and a half. What do we have on the remaster right now? What has been done
Oh, God.
in some?
So basically, the major thing we need to change from the original Fleeting Iris to Fleeting Iris
Yeah.
remaster.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, it's in the remaster.
Yes.
You were right.
It's the resolution. That's like the major change. What does this entail? So basically, we have to change every single map in the game.
Every single
Well,
one?
not every single one, but
Almost every single
the
one.
majority.
Yeah.
For example, the park fits nicely. The hospital, but most of them don't. Are too small for the new resolution.
Yeah, but those maps are absolutely huge.
Yes. So we have to change the size of all the maps. And since we changed the size of all the maps now are no longer centered. So I have to adjust where everything is. The problem with that is changing the arrangement of the map breaks pretty much everything in the game. Every transfer, every time we change the location of an
Yes.
event, every time a character moves with Pathfinder like around stuff and whatever, it breaks the game in so many ways.
So basically, this is what created that bug where IMA showed up in the middle of the highway and got hit by a bulldozer. That you remember that meme? Creating those changes in maps, in creating the transfers, that's what created that
Yes,
bug.
but now we are doing that in the entire game, and not just like it's not a small change. Some maps now have like twice, probably more than twice the total area. Yes, so some changes for some maps are absolutely huge. So I have to go through every event in every map in the entire game, read all the code, check all the transfers, all the times we change a location of an event, and every single time we use pathfinding for movement route, and
Which is a lot.
which is a lot, and adjust all the coordinates in all those lines of code for the entire game.
So basically, the maps in RPG Maker, for those that don't know, are made in like cells. Every cell has like a coordinate, which is like north, south, east, west. Which is you have the x coordinate and the y coordinate, and one measures the game in terms of like from the bottom, from top to bottom, and one from left to right. So if you want to have every event that you see in the game, every little image, every little thing that you see, a door, whatever it is, it's in one or more cells. So something can be on the cell like X23, Y10. Okay, so that's how the game sees where stuff is and where stuff should happen. And the pathfinding is a script that we have that instead of like, let's say that we want to move a character from X23 and Y1 to X28 in Y1, we will have to grab the character and this is the normal way to do it, the RPG Maker way to do it. We will have to go like right, and that will be the movement, right? And if there's something in the middle of, if there's an event, if there's like a physical thing in the middle of the path, you have to go, for instance, right, up, right, down, right. You have to literally explain how the character walks around it, so you can dictate where the character is going to go, and if the character has to go around tables, if the character has to go around chairs, if the character has to go around the characters, that's perfectly normal. So what Pathfinder does, and the name should be pretty self-explanatory, but basically it measures the quickest path between one cell and the cell you want to go. You just have to go Pathfind, grab the event, and just go Pathfind X28 Y1. And the character, when it reads that part of the script, it automatically does the shortest path between X23Y1 and X28Y1. And that's pretty much what Pathfind does. So if you increase the size of the map and you change the coordinates of everything, all the times that you see characters walk on themselves, which is pretty much most events that you see in the game, we have to remake. We need to figure out what are the new coordinates, and we have to remake them. All the transfers where you switch from one map to another, we have to remake all that garbage. So basically there's a lot of stuff that has to be made for the remaster. And also we need to do we need to do this in batches and very slowly, just to make sure that when you start playing the game, we don't break anything. So originally we're going to try and move the events from the main game to the remaster, and then we are going to try and release parts of the game in batches. We are going to try and remake the menus in batches. Also, the menus also follow coordinates. We just don't go, this button does this. We have to give coordinates to the buttons in the menu. So I'm going to have to redraw all of the menus, which is okay. But right now there's some stuff. For instance, some of the initial scenes are incredibly old, and we don't have high resolution version of those scenes. Like the scene where Ayame loses the virginity to Robert, and thankfully there were a lot of scenes that we remade, like most of the initial scenes between Ayame and Melvin. We remade most of those scenes, so now we already have high resolution versions of those scenes that are going to look absolutely impeccable in the remaster. But some of the really really old ones, like Ayame getting slapped in the butt in the pub by Scott and the other patrons,
yes.
yeah. All of those scenes are incredibly old, and we need the CG team to redo them. So right now we're probably just going to try and do like a lossless upscaling, but like we're going to leave warnings like this scene is going to be remastered, this scene is going to be remastered, because right now the CG team is super busy doing other stuff like finishing the Shota patch, which we should get previews very soon on Discord. And they also already did 3 of the Christmas scenes, and maybe by the time they are done with the Christmas scenes and we are trying to figure out the gameplay of Bloodlust and actually working more on the mechanical side of the game, and as we are working on Journey Abroad, they might be able to take away a week or a couple weeks to work on some older scenes and try to remaster them really quick, because they already have the position, they know how the characters move, they already know the expressions. So remastering those scenes shouldn't look as hard. So we are definitely going to get some scenes to be remastered for the Fleeting Iris remaster, obviously. So a lot of the stuff, from dialogues to the maps to the scenes, the dialogue is everything is going to be remastered and upscaled, obviously, and it's going to look a lot better. But there's a lot more work that can initially meet the eye. Like it's not just grab from here and put it there. That's not how our remaster works at all, especially in a game that is as heavily scripted as Fleeting Iris. That's it's not an easy task. But fortunately we also have Magpie nowadays, and
Yes.
one of the things that I was discussing with Isaac, like 4 a.m. like 2 days ago. I don't know why you were up at 4 a.m. Let's start with that.
Because I have a kid.
Oh, because you have a kid, obviously. That's a great reason.
I wasn't up. I woke up at 4 a.m.
So basically, I asked you why can't we have a bigger resolution than 960 by 736? So apparently, even with the new script, which is impeccable, by the way, we haven't had issues.
It's very
with it.
good.
It's really impeccable. Yeah, like it's the one you guys are gonna get in the Shota patch. I literally have zero issues with it. But in really, really, really old computers, we're talking about 15 inches screens and whatnot. If we try to run 1280 by 960, like it was our goal to do, it just stretches out. It shows up outside of the screen.
Yes. Because
So
there's no script that can make your there's no script that can make your computer screen just magically have more pixels.
no, but it could like shrink. Like if we made something bigger, it will shrink, right?
Yes, and if
To
you
fit the
shrink
screen.
it, a lot of stuff that's made with pixel art, like sprites, some map assets, and whatnot, lose a lot of quality, like a lot.
Yeah, but it should.
Looks
What I'm
terrible.
saying is like when it's shrunk, it should be proportionally shrunk.
It is proportional.
It's
It
not.
It looks terrible.
It's not proportionally shrunk. It's
Because
compressed.
With stuff that uses pixel art, for instance, in our sprites for all the characters in Fleeting Iris, pretty much every pixel is important, because this pixel is like the iris
eye,
of the
yeah.
eye, and the other pixel is like the cornea. If we shrink it proportionally, if the character loses, let's say, like 2 pixels high and like 2 of
That's not what proportionally shrinking. That's not how proportionally shrinking works.
whatever the number is, just a small loss of pixels makes the sprite look considerably worse.
But that's not shrinking. That's compressing. It literally compresses. It stretches the pixel out and
Yes.
loses character. If you literally just shrink it, mate, this is now not this amount of pixels. This is now this amount of pixels, which is not what the game. That's the problem. Like even with the script, it's not what happens. It's not what the computer does. It does a terrible shrinking. So Magpie does the reverse, but it actually does it correctly,
Yes.
right? Because if you could grab like the game in 1280-960 and you could use the Magpie to shrink it, Magpie will do it the right way instead of the way that you're saying. But then it's easier to give you a game that is functional and then give you Magpie to improve, other than giving you a game that
I genuinely have no idea how Magpie can increase the size and maintain so much quality. Like, no idea. It works very well while consuming very few resources.
it
It's
does
very good.
it does the same way your eye works. You know how you can like draw a line in and then you cut a little bit of the line and then your brain tries to fill up the part that it's missing.
I understand
Basically
the idea.
that's the concept what Magpie does, but
Yes.
instead of Magpie was let's just delete this pixel, it's probably not important, let's delete this what Magpie does is it tries to it tries to fill, but it does it in a better way than just increasing
Yes.
the resolution.
Yes. very
Magpie
good.
actually tries to fill up instead of like just grabbing this and stretching it. Magpie reconstructs it and adds the
Yes.
pixels that it feels like it should be there, and obviously it does an amazing job at it.
Amazing
and,
job.
And there's like many profiles that you can use in Magpie, and it's going to do it's going to get different different results depending on the stuff that you use. But Magpie is amazing. So even if we're going to release it 960 by 736, which is like already 50% increase from what the regular version is. You also have Magpie on top of that.
Yes.
So not only you're gonna get like better looking menus and higher resolution scenes and whatnot,
Yes.
uh,
And bigger maps.
it's everything is just going to look better. Everything's going to
Yes.
look better. Like everything in Fleeting Iris that we kept saying, man, I wish I could go back and switch this. We're gonna go back and pretty much remake the game. Right now it feels like we're in a messy office with papers everywhere and we don't know where to turn because there's so many projects on the table right now. And that's how it feels. And honestly, it doesn't feel like it's going to slow down because Journey Abroad is in the brink of we're in the brink of releasing a version. We have so much of the stuff done already for Journey Abroad. All of the hard stuff to do, which is come up with the story, make up the maps, all the sprite work, all the initial entice scenes. Everything
Yes.
is done. We're just waiting to have some free time from the Shota patch to start working on to finish Journey Abroad.
Free
then.
time. You're funny.
Exactly, there isn't such thing, so that's a problem. But Journey Abroad is in the brink of getting a patch. Bloodlust, obviously, I still have no idea like how we're going to make the gameplay in terms of battling, because I have all the story written out. I already have an idea of how the first days are going to play out. But once we get to the battle part, I don't know if we're going to get like if we're going to get like animated side battlers, if our sprite artist is going to be able to come up with something, or if we're going to do CG animation attacks where you actually see the characters do like
Yeah, I
cool
don't know.
stuff.
Signed battlers for MV are kind of tricky. They have a lot of frames and a lot of different default animations. Like a lot.
They don't have that
much
many
more
frames.
They have much more than VXAs. Much more.
Okay, I've seen side battlers actually do good work. Like for instance, the guy that works with 111, and he makes really good animations in 16 frames.
Okay.
16 frames. He also does most of his animations for his entice scenes in 16 frames. So yeah, it really depends on what you try to do. I don't even know if our animator Netorare Kibito if he can actually make animations. Like if we get him if we draw a 2D side battler, like how much can he animate it? And then we also need to check like how we will also need to check how long it will take for our CG team to work with stuff, because
Oh yeah.
let's say that we have our CG team working in the animated side battlers, right? Let's say that there's one group animation or one fuck animation or whatever it is in 16 frames. Like I have no idea right now how long it will take them to draw those 16 frames, because we could get the animator go like draw like literally like stick figures, like his hand needs to be here, his head needs to be here, and just draw the stick figures off the animation, and he just draws like 16 frames. This is the frames this is where the character needs to be in all of these movement, and then try to have the CG team do that. I have no idea how long it will take, because then you have to weigh it down. At some point, you have to weigh it down. Like, why doesn't our game has a lot of Ayame makes a different noise when she steps on different types of floor? Why don't you hear a when she walks on grass, and the tunk 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 when she walks on wood? Like, why don't you have all those different noises for different surfaces? Because at some point there is the amount of work plus the amount of time it takes to make something versus the outcome of what you get. Like,
Yes.
the
Plus, some people would even like hearing that kind of noises all the time. In a
yeah,
game.
you will probably have to turn it off.
Yes.
And we already have zero room in the options to turn shit on and off. No, it's true. I mean,
yes, it is.
What do we have there? Auto run.
Auto run, X-ray. I don't know. I think it's like 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, some people
maybe
also hate X-ray.
already. We have the movement speed. We have the colors for the windows.
Mouse.
The mouse. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff.
Well, we're getting apparently I heard we're gonna get bigger resolution. With bigger resolution means more room, and more room means more options. So
Yeah. Just click on options.
just click on options. But the thing is, at some point you have to weigh, is it worth having this much work and spending this much time doing something versus what you get from it, right?
I think another way to see it is it worth spending this time doing this instead of spending the same time
But
working
that's-
on a
but
different
that's the
thing
problem.
that people will like
But
more?
that's the problem. When it's something that it's me and you, it's like we're probably gonna come up with with the time to do that. The problem is every time we take our CG team to work on something, and in this case we're discussing the side battlers. If they are working on that, they are not working on something else. And
yes,
then
exactly.
we have to weigh how much time are they losing making these side battlers. So if it's something like, oh, we can do this in an afternoon, suddenly it's like, oh, okay, awesome, right?
Yeah.
But if they say, oh, it's something that takes us like a week, we're gonna be like, bro, in 1 week you can make like
Yeah, that's not feasible.
a full entire scene.
Yes, that's not feasible.
And if we have like 20 battlers, that's 20 weeks.
Yes.
What if they have 2 animations? Let's say you have a thug, and you have a thug, and one of them he just grabs her and like grabs her breast like over the shirt, and in another one he actually rips her shirt and grabs her breast over like under the shirt, and then you have another one that is like oral sex, and then you have like vaginal sex, and then there's one where if you get grabbed by 2 thugs, there's another animation. So we're talking like one guy, 6 different animations, 6 weeks. We're already talking close to a month, like it's a month and a half.
Yes.
Just working on the animations for that one fighter. Imagine if we have like 20 or 30 different types of enemies that can.
Yeah, I think that kind of scenario would only be possible if we had like a dedicated person to do only that.
And that's what we're trying to find right now. And
Yes.
that's the issue right now. But it's really hard. It's really hard. Like, I don't know if people listen to the podcast. I was invited to a podcast last week. I was invited to the Something Unlimited podcast, which is called
Indecency
Indecency.
Unlimited.
I was speaking Indecency Unlimited. I was invited for the podcast. I was there for like an hour and a half. It was really fun. And he asked me like, where do you go? Because we're trying to find like competent professionals, that people that we can trust to work on our game. Like, where do you go to find those people? And I told him as a joke, if I find them, I hire them, because it's really hard to find those people. If I was able to find them, I will probably invest our money and hire those people, because it's really hard to find someone competent that won't quit like halfway through the project, or asks for unrealistic prices.
Yes. Usually those people are already working for other companies. Funny, right?
And that's what I said. Like, if I knew, I will hire them. Like, because if I ask someone and they're like trying to work in the indie project, and they go like, oh, I can do those sprites for you, I charge like $10,000 a month. I'd be like, bro, you realize that we wrote indie project. We are not Square Enix. You understand it, right?
Yeah, I don't think Square pays any animator 10,000 a month. But,
I'm pretty sure they do. I am pretty fucking sure they do.
Sprite animators?
No, not sprite animators, but you know, when we're talking about the animators for the fighters for Final Fantasy Remaster, and for some of the backgrounds and the maps.
Even those, I kind of doubt it. They have animator teams, and like if every single person in the team gets like 3,000, that sounds much more like realistic to me. 10,000 a person, I don't see it.
I think you're delusional.
Maybe the director of the animator team, perhaps.
Let me tell you something.
Gets a
Let me tell you
10,000.
something. The animated characters are not paid paychecks. This might surprise you, but we didn't pay a single cent to IMA, right? Every single cent that we spent in the actual people behind the thing.
Yes.
Those projects cost hundreds of millions. And that's all paying. And that's all paying for.
I really
team.
don't think there's a lot of games that cost literally hundreds of millions.
No, I'm talking about Square Enix.
Still,
So I'm talking.
still.
I'm talking about like their main animator. Their main animator, the guy that draws like the maps and whatever, and does like all the main animations. I'm not saying that guy gets paid like 10,000 a month, but that guy also doesn't get paid 3,000 a month. I guarantee.
Yes, that's what I told you. Maybe the leader of the animation team, maybe that guy gets 10,000 a month, not the regular animators. Those guys, no.
It will be impossible.
Yes.
Because this is kind of like supply and demand. This is supply and demand. If no team can pay you that amount of money, like then you have to be realistic about how much you charge. Because there's a lot of people in the world that once you realize what they do for a living, and like handicraft and whatnot, and when you see they charge you like $20 for like a knife, and then you see all the work that is behind the knife, you kind of look like at it like, how what? How with all this work you only charge $20 for a knife? And then there's people, dude. I saw a guy the other day making some shoes, and I was like, oh, really cool. Oh, nice shoes. And it was charging like $43,000 for a shoe.
God damn it.
And that's when people start doing designer shit, and that type of designer shit actually makes sense, because this guy is handicrafting something along, dude. He's taking days for doing that, and it's high quality. And at the end of the day, he puts a brand, and he's like, I'm the only one who can do this in this quality. So if you you know, that always happens. It's like that story, like the guy that is the boss says, yo, I need you to make a logo for this game, and he arrives there like an hour later with like 5 different logos, and the boss asks you, dude, if you can do this so easily, why am I paying you $10,000 a month? And he says, you're paying me $10,000 a month because I can do this so easily and so fast. So you shouldn't be punishing people if they are able to deliver something better at a faster pace, because that's when paying people on an hourly rate starts having a fallacy. Because if I work faster than you, why should I get prejudiced? You know,
Yes.
why don't I just let my paper just sit on top of the desk for a longer time, and then well, this took me 3 hours, and actually took me like 30 minutes, right? So hourly rates are fucked up. So you actually need to assess the market, and obviously there's a lot of people that are being, you know, technically overpaid for the amount of work they do, actually work. And there's people that are being incredibly underpaid, but there's so much offer for people doing that. So I guess one thing that actually measures how much money you make is how many people can do your job, or how many people can do your job with the quality that you do. And obviously in Evan Studios, I feel like we are only able to do so much, and I can say the same about NLT Media, and I can say the same about Ram Terry. The only reason some people are able to make games that are, you know, so detailed and have so much stuff is because some people in that team are being extremely underpaid. And in our team, that's everyone, but mostly me. I do the job of like 30 different people, from editing on Photoshop, from editing songs, to writing the scripts, directing, writing the story, writing the enticing dialogues,
Mapping. A lot.
actually
of mapping.
drawing the maps, not just grabbing shit
Parallax
from,
mapping. It's like another level of mapping.
actually creating assets instead of just downloading it from the internet.
Being kind of the art director for the CG team too.
Yeah, being the art director for both the CG teams.
Yeah. Yes. That too.
So at the end of the day, you know, but it's a good thing. I don't hate it. Like, sometimes I wish, even if it was just writing the entire scenes, if I didn't have to write the entire scenes, that will take so much time away from me. But then, who do you find that you trust to write the entire scenes with the same quality that you do? Especially our entire scenes that have so much story details in the middle of entire scenes. So you go back to what the other guys say. The other guy asked, like, what do you do when you find these people? Well, I'll let you know when I find them. It's really fucking hard. So it's going to be really hard to find a side battler that that does something in high quality, fast, and with reasonable rates, right?
Yes.
And then we have to ask the RCG team if they can do it, and it's probably going to be like it's going to take way too much time. So we're going to have to revert to a more simplistic style of battle, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole, the whole process that goes in your head. But this goes on your head like over the course of months. But that's pretty much the only part that we're technically missing on Bloodlust is deciding how the battle system is going to work. But other than that, listen, the CG team is super excited. They already drew some of the they already drew some teasers for Bloodlust, which they haven't colored yet. But yeah, Muku was dying to show us his new style. And I don't know if I should actually spoil it, but yeah, once he knew we wanted to make like a persona influenced style of gameplay and whatever. Muku was super excited because he loves the games, and
Everybody loves the games.
yeah, it's really hard not to love those games.
God damn it.
And
So good.
and yeah, basically that's it. So right now, it's just mostly us just being there. There's so many fronts that we need to focus on, and there's so much stuff to focus on each game, especially when if you're making like a garbage game with RPG Maker assets, a garbage story, you don't give a fuck about grammar mistakes, and you're writing as, oh yeah, stick it on my ass, oh so big, I never got dick like that. If that's the writing that you like, bro, I can dish out games like that like a month on a monthly rate. I can dish out games like that. But once you're trying to make a game where you're paying so much attention to every single fucking detail, from the sprites to the songs to the maps to the dialogue to everything, you always feel overwhelmed. There's no not feeling overwhelmed, because you're going to be focused on the Shota patch. When that is done, there's so much job to be done on the Christmas patch, and then there's so much work to be done on Journey Abroad, and then there's so much work to be done in Bloodlust. So look, it's time for Journey Abroad again. Oh look, it's time for Bloodlust again. Oh look, it's time for the Halloween patch. You're always chasing stuff. Yeah, you're not gonna get to see my premium cut, bro. So Foster just arrived. What's up, Foster? And he's talking about getting my premium haircut. Is it premium or not?
I guess.
Wow. Okay.
It's
so
good. It's good.
He's
I'm
made
joking,
a
it's
bitch.
good.
No. You're a whole bitch. You're a whole bitch. She even did my beard straight, bro. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. No, but the degradé on the airline, it's the hardest part to do, and it looks nice.
And it was free. Did I mention it was free? It's premium as fuck, bro. But yeah, the thing about working on Evan Studios, I don't know how it is about other companies, but there's a few that I assume that is also kind of like that. Is there's just work everywhere, and that's why I call the podcast what I call it today. Is there's just stuff to focus about on every single front. We have a lot of stuff to focus on, regardless of what it is, and everything is extremely expensive. People need to get paid. Everything that we outsource, contractors, whatever, songs are extremely expensive. Songs are about $10 a song, and you're not gonna get away with one song. Like even in the crappiest games, you're gonna be like invested in $80. And the thing is, no bullshit, for Journey Abroad, and we haven't collected a dime for Journey Abroad. I did the math, and we were already $7,800 invested in Journey Abroad.
That thing better sell like hotcakes.
I haven't collected the dime. And people have the nerve to call us milkers in some places.
Dude, but what I want to know is, what color is your Bugatti?
Broke ass. Is there a broke ass Bugatti? That's what I got. I got a 99 Volkswagen. That's what I got. That's my Bugatti. But I don't give a fuck, bro. At least I get to sleep at night, and it's not in a prison jail. And I can actually drop the soap and not be afraid that people are gonna fuck me in the ass. See, that's how life works. When life gives you lemons, if you act like a bitch, you're gonna get fucked in the ass. There you go. That's
Yes.
the point. Is people are going to talk shit, like especially once they want their porn and they're not being getting their porn. But it's not like I know there's a lot of developers that don't want to work anymore, so they're just making up, excuses not to deliver. But we always deliver. We always delivered, and people say that we're trying to milk patrons. We are investing so much money, and we're always showing out the work for other stuff. Journey Abroad, we're close to $8,000 invested in Journey Abroad, in sprites, in actually all the assets that we had to buy for MV, since we weren't
Yes.
we weren't working on MV at the time. Um, the songs for the game, everything is going to be new.
Yeah.
We're not going to reuse obviously Fleeting Irish songs. Uh, all the CG art that Scarlett Ann already did, which was not only like the 9 enticings or 10 that we have.
Yes.
She also did busts for all the
Yes, all the busts.
23 characters,
Some have multiple busts even.
and some have multiple busts. And Scarlett Ann does not charge less than $80 for anything, bro. Like, I might be mistaken, but like a bust like the character that you see on the screen right now from Miami, that's probably going to cost you a nice 80 from Scarlett. She works nice, and she charges as she works. She's gonna charge nice, and I don't even think she charges that much, to be honest. I mean, yeah, sometimes she can take like a month to actually deliver stuff because she's working on a bunch of different projects and her own project and whatever. So it's pretty natural, but once you start adding up all those busts and all those enticings, and then you look at the sprite artists, because guess what? For all the characters that you see with the bust, there's also a sprite. And the sprites, the ones that we have for MV, they all cost $35 and above. And it's one for every character, plus some characters have multiple
Yes.
fucking dresses and costumes and whatever. So let's say that we have 40 characters. That's like $40 each. That's 40 times 40. So we're already invested in Journey Abroad more money than people can even think to begin to invest in their own game. If people didn't buy our game on Steam, Fleeting Eyes on Steam, and if people weren't giving us money on Patreon, there's no way Journey Abroad will ever exist.
Yes.
The only reason we are able to afford Journey Abroad is because we made some money with Fleeting Iris, and we're trying to invest it back in other games, and back in our community, and back in our company, and actually pay our employees decently and whatnot. That's it. So yeah, I don't want to plug, like, I don't want to go outside on other forums and shit and plugging our games. But yeah, this is a plug. Just keep in mind that,
Dude, it's your podcast. I don't think it counts as a plug.
see, because it's my podcast. So here's the thing. Once we get money, we invest the money back into the company, and that's it. We want to grow. We want to grow. I actually want to hire more people, and you can hire, and obviously you need some money to hire more people because some people are expensive.
Yes.
But there's a lot of companies out there. If you grab the $1 million and they give them $1 million today, they won't change anything about their company. Maybe they will move like to a bigger office, but they won't hire anyone extra. They're like, we don't know who will we hire and to do what. We have an idea. Give us money. We have an idea where to spend that money. Give us money. We'll find a way. We'll hire more CG artists. We'll hire.
I like our plug. Feel free to give us money. Yeah, yes.
No, but it's serious. Like, we know where to spend money. We know where to spend money. Better hardware, more people, more competent people. Instead of paying for all these songs, we could actually pay someone that
to
could
compose just for us. That
Yeah.
would be great.
So yeah, like when people ask me, when are you gonna be rich? Never. But my company's gonna grow. So there's that.
Yes.
And that's I got that going for me, which is nice. And that's the goal. That's the goal. So I'm never going to be driving a Bugatti, but I will be giving a lot of people jobs, and that's
Good jobs.
That's my
which
Bugatti.
is very important.
that's my Bugatti. It's giving people jobs.
Not shitty jobs.
Also not shitty people, please.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the plan. Right now, there's so much that we are doing, and obviously, I said obviously. I didn't mean to say obviously. It might seem like if we had a lot more people, I will probably work on a lot more projects. Probably not. I will just invest more people in the projects that we have, and try to improve the quality and the speed that they come out. Would I personally work in more than 2 projects? I don't know. Not doing the amount of stuff that I do right now for the company. It's completely infeasible. It's completely unthinkable for me working in more than 2 projects. I feel like as soon as the Christmas patch is done, interchanging between Bloodlust and Journey Abroad, doing the amount of work that I do, because if I was only writing the story and doing the dialogues and then directing, I would probably be able to. But having to write the entire scenes and panel them on Photoshop and create some assets for that we don't have for the scenes, because that's something that I also do. If there's some eyes that I don't like or whatever, I also
Creating the maps, dude. The time you lost doing the Journey Abroad maps wasn't fucking unreal. But the maps are like the best maps I've ever seen in any RPG Maker game ever.
yeah. But tell people that I spent days working
Days.
on those.
Days. But the maps are the best maps I've seen in any engine of RPG Maker ever. Like by a lot.
Yeah, but days.
But and it shows. Days and it shows.
It doesn't show. Like if you never did a map in RPG Maker,
Oh yeah, probably.
it does not show.
But people who have already worked with maps on RPG Maker and look at that map with that kind of details and all those unique assets that you had to create first on Photoshop and whatnot, they will see the ridiculous amount of work put in those maps.
I know. You know how I know?
I know how we
Because
know.
there's a screenshot thread in the official forums where people make games and whatever,
Yes.
and I put some of our maps there,
Yes.
and they were like, "Holy shit, where did you get that? Where did you get those assets?" Blah blah. I did them. They're personal.
Yes,
They're personal, and yes, everybody was like, "Whoa, that looks fucking amazing."
yes, it
And
does.
people actually offered me money to make maps for their games, and I'm not gonna say it was a lot of money or not a lot of money, but it was kind of both. I feel like the max amount of money that people told me, like if you make maps for my games, I'll give you like $500 for each map that looks like that.
That looks like that. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yes.
So they're giving me like $500 to work like on a map for like a whole week, and it's an
a
epic.
map that looks like, for instance, the main house in Journey Abroad. I can totally see it. Yes.
Wait, the whole 2 floors plus the background.
No,
plus-
no, no, no. One
Oh.
of the maps. The house is 2 maps. One of those maps.
The house is 4 maps.
If I had like that amount of money to pay a person just to do that job, I can totally see someone paying like $500 for a map like that. That makes sense to me. Yes.
Yeah, that's the maximum amount of money.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
also got offers as low as like $20.
You know the guy of the eat shit, dude. Complete $20, dude. The people who offer $20, they literally don't know the amount of work you had to put on a map.
Stop
like
hitting
that.
the table. But
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. They don't know.
They don't know.
But also, you can't be. Okay, if you're going to Paris Saint-Germain and you're a player and you're expecting to get like 15 million a week, I'm making up numbers, and they give you an offer for 5, you're like, bro, you're clearly undervaluing me. Fuck you, eat shit, and you leave. But this is a guy that probably he has $20 to spend on the map, and he's like, well, it won't hurt to ask.
Absolutely.
Who knows? I might be desperate for money, and it's like maybe this guy can make me like a super nice price. It's not the case. Obviously, I didn't accept because, hey, bro, if I had that type of time, I will pay myself $500 to keep to work extra on my
Yes.
company. But obviously, that was not the case. But I'm not gonna get mad at the guy for offering me $20 to make a map. I'll be like, listen, I'm not for hire. Unless we're talking like 6 digits a year, I'm 100% not for hire.
Yes.
And I still will need time to work on my company. So it's my price is unrealistic. No one is going to pay me what I think I deserve, except myself. I'm paying myself nothing to
What
work
you
on
can.
or to work on my company. What I can. That's a good way
Yes.
to put it. To
That's,
work
that's a good number.
to work on my company. So, but I also get pleasure out of it, and you can put, I'm feeling, there's the feeling of realization. There's the feeling of I am creating this. There's the feeling of
Yes.
when I release the game, I get feedback and people appreciate
Yes.
our games.
The-
And even the people that get mad and release the game and whatever, those people are passionate about something that I'm creating. So I'm not gonna get mad at it. I'm also not gonna fucking
The sense of accomplishment is very good.
yeah. The sense of accomplishment.
Also, we
is
are
definitely-
kind of leaving a legacy.
I mean, it's a
so-
porn legacy, but it's a legacy.
Yes, it's a porn legacy. Now, I see it like this. We are making something that people use to enjoy like the little happy moments on life and cope with difficulties and helps them get through the day. So I think that our job is really important.
Yeah, it's entertainment. It doesn't matter what type of entertainment it
Yes,
is. Plus, we're not.
we are working to improve our players' mental health. There you go.
Exactly.
Extremely important job.
100%. Love it. But it is. It is.
It absolutely is.
Plus, it doesn't matter what it is. It's something that we're a race that we love writing information down and passing down information and leaving stuff for future generations. And this game might be here for God knows how long, maybe 100 years from now, when my bones turned into dust. There will be some
If
kid,
we don't fuck up the environment until then.
bro. Maybe after the next ice age, maybe people will be finding our drives and be like, oh, look at this game from 2023. What the fuck? This game is so good. We need to clone these motherfuckers fast so they can work on different games. I'm just being a dick. But listen, something
That would be a nice plot for an anti-game.
Don't give me any ideas.
A future species finds anti-game producers and resurrects them to produce more porn.
Dude, people
for
are
their
fucking
people.
insane. People are fucking insane.
That would be a nice story.
Imagine, bro. Imagine. You can 100% write a dystopic game like that. Imagine like
Yes.
we're talking about 2150 or whatever, 2150. The year is 2150, and they are cloning all the young Pamela Andersons and Marilyn Monroes and Scarlett Johansson's whatever, and turn them into sex slaves. And you're trying to stop them because clones have feelings. It's really easy to make a dystopic idea like that. But I definitely feel that, like, some of my favorite artists, I feel like I legitimately feel like a sense of loss from them dying. And if you look at art, art has been part of the human civilization ever since we remember human civilization. But no one looks at. I'm gonna say no one looks, but that's a bad way to put it. Like, you're not gonna look at like those paintings of, not paintings, but like those carvings on a stone wall of like people chasing bisons with fucking spears, and you're gonna be like, oh man, I need me some more of this. Like, if you look at art realistically, something that is like, oh my god, this is like the apex, like this guy's. We're gonna look at what classical art. We're gonna look at like Mozart. We're gonna look at like we're gonna look at the Rembrandts and the Da Vinci's, and that's what we're gonna look in terms of like visually and audio art. We're gonna look at something from a couple centuries ago.
Yes.
Like information, obviously, we're gonna look at, thousands and thousands of years. We're gonna look back and look at pyramids that were made possibly like 3,000, 4,000 years ago. That people feel maybe this was not even done 4,000 years ago. Maybe this was done 10,000 years ago. But when you look at art, if you look at like Mozart, if you look at that shit is like a few hundred years.
Yeah, the Renaissance is very recent.
So if
compared to the
if mankind keeps going for a lot of years, let's say that we do. Like most of my favorite artists, if you look at like, for instance, Foo Fighters just lost one of the drummers. Tupac died in the 90s, 96, right? They died in my lifetime, right? But imagine how it's going to be like some people nowadays that listen to Otis Redding, realizing that he died at the age of like 23, I think. And you're not going to get anything from him. Imagine that you listen to Otis Redding, you become completely passionate about his songs, and you realize...
Yeah, when Chester died, I kind of felt like that.
So, yeah, you realize that Linkin Park will never,
ever,
compose another song again.
Yes.
And when there's a sense of loss. So right now, we're like in the golden days of anti-games, where almost all of the producers, if you like any game, you can actually kind of like still expect a
Do you
sequel.
think then that when we die, people will feel about us the same way that for instance, I felt about Chester or something like that?
I don't think we are that impactful, but I feel like that when we quit,
I bet that for some people,
unless we die,
That
like
abso-
if you
that-
die tomorrow, obviously people
that
wanna,
absolutely look like playing Fleeting Artists, and then we'll love play Journey Abroad and Bloodlust and whatnot. I definitely think like our major fans will feel like that.
we'll see about that. Actually, we don't.
We
because
won't see about
we're
that,
dead.
but you guys will see about that.
But here's the note. Like, obviously, never underestimate. This is the same thing. Like when you're talking about the kid, and the kid brings his problems on, and if you become too dismissal of his problems, it's kind of like you're making fun of his problems. Even though you're just a kid. That's just kid's problems. Nobody gives a fuck. But he gives a fuck.
Yes.
That's his problems, and
That's his life. It's what he knows.
it's real to him. When a girl
Yes.
comes home and says, "This bitch at my office did this," and you're like, "Is that what you're mad about?" But you only say that in your head because you're trying to be supportive, and you're like, "If that's your problems, then that's your problems, right?"
Yes.
You should never be dismissive, and it's kind of hard not to do it because you're trying to stay humble. So I'm thinking like people, it's a game. People just like it. It's a game. It is whatever it is. But there's people that are extremely engaged in our games. There are people that are extremely engaged with our characters. There are people that are that are very engaged in what we do. So I assume that if I die today, and Evan Studios just probably died as what it is,
It will not be the same. Yes.
I feel like some people, it wouldn't be like someone in their family died, obviously, but some people will be like, man, I can't believe no more Fleeting Guy is gonna come out ever. Or, dude, I was expecting like Bloodlust to come out and it's never gonna come out. Or, the type of art or the type of writing. Because right now people do what everyone does. People take me and take us as a company for granted. They keep giving us money on Patreon, and they're expecting to for this to keep going until they lose interest.
Yes.
Or we quit or whatever it is. But there's an ending for every cycle, and
It's the circle of life.
and like you just hope that you lose interest by then. Like when Squaresoft was working on Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 9, I was like, please never stop working on these games. I need these games. And then what happened is I lost interest, and then it's like, no, if you want to die, just die. I don't give a fuck anymore. Same thing with like Blizzard. I was at some point super invested in Blizzard and their
Yes.
games and StarCraft. I need to see how this ends. And now then it ended like shit, and Blizzard turned into a shit company, and I don't give a fuck. But I genuinely feel that in our thousands and thousands of fans, there's people that are invested to the point where if we die today, it will be extremely weird to live in an Evan Studios-less world, where you will not get any more patches regardless of how much time. But then people will move on because out of sight, out of mind, and people will eventually move on. But I genuinely feel that once we quit, or if something happens to one of us, that people are going to be incredibly sad, and there's going to be a sense of void for a certain part of their lives for a while. But on a positive note, I hope that we just quit on good terms. We work on all the games that we plan to work on, and people appreciate all those games, and those games are all each one better than better than the previous one. And when we quit, people feel that like we went full circle, and then we quit in a great style, and then maybe there's a door open to
To live on a high note.
and maybe there's a like Brooklyn Nine-Nine for us.
Yes.
The way it
absolutely.
ended, it wrapped it up. It wrapped it up
Yes.
perfectly, and we were okay with saying
The last
goodbye.
season was very good.
And people can always go back and play our games again and be like, oh my god, yeah, and then maybe we leave a window open to work on a game in the future. And maybe 100 years from now or 200 years from now, let's hope that mankind lasts this long, and 300 years from now, people are still playing our games and going, man, I wish they cloned these motherfuckers.
Maybe we'll get cloned one day.
That's the
We'll
goal.
see.
That's the goal.
Getting cloned, yes.
That's the goal. People wanting to clone us because they want to.
What a weird ass podcast we had today.
Hey, people want a weekly podcast. We need to come up with, But this is the type of shit that goes through my mind,
we
man.
come up with cloning. Yes,
We
absolutely.
we just want to work on something that 100 years from now, 200 years from now, people are still coming on from some fucked up day, because we'll always find ways to think like our days are being fucked up, and people can look back at it and play our game and be like, I feel a lot better now, and I wish these guys were alive to keep working on games. Foster said, "You are not allowed to move from this earth until we get the Armand Office expansion." I like that. I'm gonna leave that one for the end, just to make sure I don't die until it comes out.
Because that's how it works.
But let's hope that we can bring out all our games. That's our goal. After that, we'll see. But we have plans right now. We have a lot of plans, and the more money, the more faster and better we can, you know, do those plans. And yeah, let's just hope that we stay along for a long time and we don't die, or we don't have to shut doors because we are not being funded enough to keep working. So let's hope that for the many foreseeable years, Evan Studios is still around creating entire games for you guys. I appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, even if you were live or not. I appreciate everyone that was talking in chat. Again, Era and Jeffrey, Foster, thank you so much for listening to this live and keeping us company. I hope you guys appreciated the podcast for this week. That's all. We'll see when we're gonna come back next week, because maybe we are able to release some previews before that, so that will be cool. But I will let you guys know when it's gonna be the podcast next week. So thanks for watching, Isaac,
Bye, everyone.
and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.
君